I was traveling home from work one day, pre-pandemic. I was taking the train, and I had gotten up, and I just felt like this excruciating pain throughout my lower back. And I remember hobbling my way off the train, getting to the house or whatever, and then I ended up going through x-rays and seeing all these different doctors, trying to see what was up, which resulted in me.
Hey, welcome back to the Better Fitness Proof podcast. I'm your host, Matt April, and today we have one of our newer but super all-star members, Jenn. Hi, Jenn.
Hi.
Can you greet everyone and tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hey, everyone. So my name is Jenn Bresnicki. I've been a member here for about 3 months now. Loving every minute of it for sure. Love working with the team, and just being here has been great.
Yay! Awesome. Well, Jenn, you have a really cool story, and I think we should start by highlighting the biggest wins that you've had, and then we'll backtrack and go through your whole journey, the whole story of everything going into it, okay?
Sounds great.
So what did we just review with your InBody numbers specifically and everything else?
Yeah, so hopefully I won't butcher this, but in just a couple months, I've seen a ton of progress, which is huge. Wasn't expecting that for sure, but I think I've lost a decent amount of body fat, 3 pounds or so.
Yeah.
And then gained 5 pounds of muscle mass just over those couple months, which is huge.
Huge.
Loving that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And because you came in here, so tell everybody, what was your goal coming in? What motivated you to actually come in?
Yeah, so I obviously, like everyone else, was kind of sitting around my house during the pandemic, not moving as much as I would have liked to, kind of dealing with, a little bit of depression, not getting out of the house and getting exercise and all that. So as the months went by and the spring came along, I was like, I really want to get back into fitness a little bit. So I started looking on Google for personal trainers and things like that. And Bet on Better was the first gym that I actually happened upon, and I put an inquiry to you. And you got back to me so quickly. And that was kind of like the first thing that kind of lit me up a bit, because I was like, oh, this person reached out right away and they seemed like they have great energy, and I was really excited about that. So I decided to come in and just kind of see what this was all about. I liked the idea of the small group personal training idea. And so you took me through a tour and all that, and I just kind of fell in love with everything pretty quickly. Loved the energy that you brought, obviously, and then coming to my first class with Alicia and Nick and Molly was just really wonderful. And I really loved the personal attention that I got, because I never really saw myself as a gym person before. I tried the Planet Fitnesses, and we even have a gym at work, which is really nice and love that benefit. But since we weren't really going into the office, I missed kind of having that environment, and was trying to see what would fit best for me. Beyond going to classes or things like that, I wanted to have a more personalized journey, and I got that through you guys, which was awesome.
Yay. And we're so glad you did too,
Yeah.
because you are such a great fit community. I mean, every time I see you, it's a huge greeting. It's always something Matt style, but
Yeah.
you match it. And that's why I believed when we first met that you would be such a great fit. And I knew that once you were here, it's yeah, she's here. And I love that you are here. You add so much to the community, and just the quirky things, like the Disney stuff, and everything about you just makes it so much better and welcoming. It makes you a real person that people can relate to. And that's why I'm so excited to have you on the show today. So thank you for hanging out. And so let's backtrack. So we talked a little bit about what motivated you to come in here, but give me the story of Jenn so that everyone who's watching and who's listening can get a better idea for where you were, what you were as a young adult getting into where you are now, and what you do, and all the different things that make you where you are today.
Yeah, so kind of going back to where I guess my fitness journey started, really. I played softball for basically my entire life, so the second I could probably pick up a ball and bat, my dad was teaching me how to play softball in the backyard. So I played, t-ball and pee-wee and all that kind of stuff from a young age, and I got into pitching really early in life. So I played softball all up until my senior year of high school. Wow. And in high school, I was actually playing 3 teams at one time.
3 teams?
Yes.
In your senior year of high school?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yes.
Wow.
For multiple years of high school, too, which was kind of crazy. It was exhausting. I'd have like 3 games in one day sometimes after school. So it was like back to back, a lot to fit in. But I really loved it. I loved organized sports, and that was like kind of what I loved exercising was through sports. And then I kind of took a break from that in college just because I was a biology major and international business double major. So it was a lot of coursework. I was going to school all year round, and also working internships and things like that. So I definitely missed, having sports as a part of my life. And when I graduated college, I kind of dabbled in yoga for a little bit. And as I said, I tried to use the gym at work a little bit, but it wasn't ever consistent. And I missed having that, that conditioning, all that strength training that we used to have leading up to softball and during the softball season. So, as I kind of talked about before, it was wanting to get back into that routine coming here, but also I got diagnosed with celiac disease back in 2019, I believe. Losing track of time with this pandemic.
I know, right? Everything's like squished together. Like it was one of the years previous.
Yeah.
It's either
time before that.
Before or after the pandemic. That's
right.
like kind of what the timeline is now, right?
Exactly.
So before the pandemic, roughly 2019.
Right.
Okay.
I got diagnosed with celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disorder where your immune system attacks your small intestine anytime you ingest gluten, which was a big surprise to me because I love carbs, like I'm sure most people do. I couldn't believe that was it, but it made sense with, I was always kind of, thinner for most of my life, never really bulked up even with playing on 3 softball teams. So when I decided to look at joining a gym, I really wanted to focus on like the strength training and things that you guys offer here because, as I know cardio is important in running and things like that, but I was never really into those things. I never was going to run a marathon or anything like that. That was never my forte. So I was really looking for strength training, something to build up my muscle strength and things like that. And so finding you guys was kind of a blessing and has really helped me feel better, look better, eat better, all those things, which has been huge with, just dealing with that celiac diagnosis and finding out what meals work for me and what exercise have been able to get me stronger and things like that. So that's been awesome.
And you have definitely gotten so much stronger since day one. And like, I don't like to date the podcast, but for the sake of timeline wise, it's been about 3 months, like 3.5 months since day one for you.
Still a newbie.
It's still a newbie, but yet still having made such big progress. And I love it because usually in the first couple of months with people getting into a new regimen, especially the way we do things where it's a lot more focused on like setting a foundation with fitness and making sure that we're looking at the fundamentals of movement instead of just going through workouts and going through the movements and just like workout, exercise, sweat. Like that's great, but that's not the way we approach it. We look at more of the scientific approach of it all and make sure that everyone's not only unique in the way they're training, but also specifically progress and regress for each individual. So for you, Jen, coming in with this idea of like, I have a strong body, but I need to get stronger. Mm-hmm. And you said you want to add more resilience to your body and these things that we had in our first discussion. That's so relatable for so many, especially like women, no matter what age demographic you fall into, women in general just have not prioritized strength training enough. Right. And you came in and you're like, the number doesn't matter to me. I just want to get stronger. I was like, my heart. So great. It's so great. I love it.
Yeah.
So like keep talking to me about like what you've gone through in just like your journey of yes, your work had a gym, but like why didn't you go that route? What like give me an idea there.
Yeah, so starting in March 2020, we went to a work from home environment, and I know many people probably like myself thought, oh, this will be a couple months, but then that's turned into years now, and now we are fully remote, at least for the foreseeable future. And living about an hour outside the city, that commute is a bit much for me. So even if the office was open, to use that gym every day or even just a couple days a week becomes pretty difficult. So I really wanted to find like a more local solution, which is why I came to you guys and kind of wanting something that was really close to my house, something that was easy to get to and easy to keep up with. Because that was definitely one of my other concerns in joining a gym was, am I going to go to this thing? Am I going to actually stay with this? I'm not just going to, sign up, pay for it, and forget about it. That's what I did not want to happen. So I really loved that you guys have like the accountability here. I think that's a huge piece of it. Like I loved even just the first couple of weeks when I started, whether it was you or Alicia or Nick or Molly, whoever, sending me a text message, checking on me, making sure I'm doing okay, and am I having any problem areas, things like that. I just really appreciate that. That's something I don't think you get with just any other gym. Even if you have a personal trainer necessarily, they might not check in with you like that. And you guys are just so motivating and uplifting, and I just thought that was really huge to my personal fitness journey. At least it kept me wanting to come here, and I know even to this day, and I foresee for the future that like this is what I look forward to every day for myself. Like I mean that seriously. Like I thought I'd never say that about a gym, obviously. Awesome. Like I would be like, oh, I just gotta go to the gym and work out, but it's like the highlight of my day. I like cannot wait to get here. I can't wait to train with you guys. It's the best. It's just such a great energy.
Oh,
yeah.
Jen, this is also positive. Gosh, yes. I love it. It's exactly what I wish for and hope for. But I know you've gone through some challenges, and I know you've overcome some struggle. Like so take me to a time. Tell me a story of when you were going through and overcoming a challenge for you.
Yeah. So a couple years back, I want to say it was like 2017. I had something wrong with my back. I don't know exactly what it was, but I was traveling home from work one day, pre-pandemic. I was taking the train, and I had gotten up, and I just felt like this excruciating pain throughout my lower back. And I remember hobbling my way off the train, getting to the house or whatever, and then I ended up going through x-rays and seeing all these different doctors to try to see what was up. Which resulted in me going to physical therapy for 3 months, twice a week, which wasn't cheap, but I learned a lot there too. Just my personal trainer was fantastic, but she was saying that she's like, I've never seen somebody with weaker hips in my life.
Oh my god!
And I was like, weak hips, and then even just learning the exercises there about how to strengthen your lower back and things like that really taught me a lot. But ever since that episode, I've had pretty regular lower back pain, and even some hip pain as well. Especially just getting out of the car and things like that, which sounds ridiculous for somebody that's 29 years old, but I never thought I'd experience that at this age. But it kind of was like a wake-up call that I need to take better care of myself. And especially being home during the pandemic, we're working, 8-hour days, sitting at a desk, in this chair or on the couch, wherever, but that wasn't doing me any favors either. And that back pain was starting to kind of creep up again. So that was one of the other drivers for me coming here and looking for a trainer, because I was like, I don't want to have, this pain anymore. I want to make sure I have this flexibility and strength, especially as I get older, because that's super important. If you don't take care of it now, it's not going to get better in the future. And then also my husband and I obviously are, we just got married in October, so we're at the time that we're considering having children and things like that. So before we did that, I wanted to be in the best physical shape I possibly could be in, as most people would want to be. And so to me, that was not just being physically fit, but being physically strong, so that, if I am to get pregnant, I'm able to carry a child, I'm able to take care of children and do all that with no pain. So. Yeah.
Well, Jen, you hit on so many great little nuggets in there that I was trying to keep track of, because oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. But the fact that you were dealing with a pain that you didn't know what had caused it, but it was there, and you continued to go on with life. That's the key factor there. And you mentioned your age, right? Mm-hmm. Pain does not matter what age you are. It will come to you whether you're 29, whether you're 59, right, whether you're 39. It does not matter. It does not decide that's a good person to target because of their age. It just happens. Yeah. And so for us, the way we look at it as, you see it in our community. Our community is so vast, many different sizes, shapes, backgrounds, colors, creeds, sexual orientations. Every little thing is different for every single person. And that's why I love our community so much, because no matter what you've gone through, you can find a way in a program that is suitable for you and your needs. Mm-hmm. But for you, going through it at such a young age, right, dealing with back pain, it got you to a place where you had to go to physical therapy, mm-hmm, have to seek a professional to help you, and then do that for 3 months. Yeah. And that's not just a quick little visit. That's a consistent keep up with it, because pain is something, again, it doesn't decide whether or not to go for you based on your age. It also doesn't decide whether or not to leave you, right, based on how how much you do in physical therapy or workouts. So the consistency of your program with 3 months of physical therapy, and now the consistency of this program will allow for you to learn and to improve, and then to continuously improve, getting better just 1% each day. That's how you'll continue to thrive the way you have been.
Right.
And so where are you now with your back pain?
I have no back pain. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Awesome. So cool.
I love like all the personal attention I've gotten here, because even, you know, if we're doing an exercise and I start to feel, you know, even just the slightest pinch, you know, I'll let the trainer know, and I'll let Alicia or Molly or Nick know, and they'll come over right away and say, okay, here's a stretch you can try. Or, you know, why don't you, instead of do this exercise, we'll try an alternate exercise. So it's not like you're sitting there in pain, you know, trying to force yourself through something, which I think is just so huge, because even though I tried to retain some of the exercises I learned through physical therapy, obviously some of that, you know, left my mind a little bit. I remembered some little things, but it was, once I was trying to get back into fitness, I was like, you know, how many of these reps should I be doing? Or what kind of exercises should I be adding into here, you know, to make myself stronger and things like that. And you guys develop such great programs that are, you know, it's consistent, you know, with some of the same exercises, but also you pepper in enough different things to keep it interesting and, you know, keep you coming back, wanting more and wanting to improve yourself. So I think that's just been really huge to have that personal touch and consistency.
Yeah, well, I mean, it speaks volumes of your character with consistency and keeping up with things, no matter what the challenges that have come aboard in your life that have made you decide to take that route. The fact that you stick to it is great, and I think there are specific kinds of people in this world, and some people find passions and they pursue those passions, and sometimes we find things that work really well for us and we keep up with it because it's working. And so when you can tie a passion into something that's working for you, and you find something that makes you feel good, that empowers you, that adds to you instead of takes away from you, that's how you'll continue to grow and improve everything you're doing about your life.
Yeah.
So future of talk of, like, you know, getting married and then having a family one day, those things like that, those conversations, although are fun to have with your spouse and stuff, these are also kind of serious if you consider like what goes into like
Right.
planning. Like you do want to have a strong, healthy, resilient environment to create a child and grow a child, right?
Yeah.
And I know, speaking from experience of the tens of, maybe even close to hundreds of women who have come through, who are moms, or who are like new moms or older moms or experienced moms, whatever, wherever you fall in that spectrum of being a parent, the ones who are able to be here and do strength training in the way we do it, and prioritize the healthy movements instead of just workouts, have come out of pregnancy saying, I am stronger now than I was previously, or I was able to do this because I spent all this time preparing my body. And that's, I admire it, and I love it, and I want more of it. Yes. Like, yes.
It's really amazing. Like, I can't believe even seeing some of the other members that are already well along pregnant coming to these classes. They're lifting more weight than I am in some cases. It's unbelievable. I'm like, these girls are really strong, and that's like incredible. Like, I look up to them. I'm like, I want to be that strong, you know? And it's just awesome too that you guys are able to embed like that pre-postnatal program within your regular strength training. So if you need to take, you know, that route, you have that option. Like, I personally have never seen that like at other places. And I think that's really huge that you know, accommodate so many different lifestyles, and, you know, that stuff's available for people. So I think that's huge.
It is huge. Yes. Well, Jen, so like, I want to try something new on here. And my plan originally was to like start like rattling off a bunch of questions to you and have you like answer rapid fire. But instead, as I'm like saying this, I'm realizing like that's not going to go as well as I hope in my brain sometimes. Not that you wouldn't be able to do it. I don't think I would be able to keep up with it because I don't have my list of all the questions I was like thinking about doing. Yeah. So maybe for right now, I'm going to do a little commercial. And we're not going to wrap it up yet, but I'm going to do a little commercial. So, hey, if you're hanging out, make sure you click the subscribe button, right? Give us a thumbs up on this video. Comment below on what your favorite thing is about the conversation we're having. Or better yet, are you a Disney fan? Are you a Disney fan? Because I know we have a Disney fan right here. So here's a quick question that I want everyone listening and watching to answer. Jen, what is your favorite Disney movie?
It's a tough one.
Or how about top three? Top three.
Top three. I can do top three. So I'll do a Disney Pixar as well because
yeah.
that's a good mix there.
Let's do it.
Favorite movie of all time has to be Up. I mean, the amount of Christmas ornaments we have that are Up branded is unbelievable.
How many do you have?
Oh, probably at least 5 or 6.
Wow, that's more than enough.
Between gifts and all the things
all right.
we've done.
So Up.
Up is my fave. Second, I'd have to say Little Mermaid. That was my favorite when I was a kid.
Little Mermaid.
Favorite princess, all that.
Okay.
So, and then my third would probably be a tie between Toy Story and Peter Pan.
Ooh.
Just because it's like a classic.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So.
All right. Good. That's a good mix in. Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll sprinkle into that Peter Pan. It's a surprise. So everyone who's listening and watching, comment. So if you're listening on the podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star rating here while you're here. But I want to go over to the YouTube channel and leave a comment. And maybe if we maybe we'll pick a winner of people who comment. We're just going to randomly pick somebody who comments in here. And maybe we'll do something fun for that person who comments below with their favorite top 3 Disney movies in here. I have to say, though, for me, Disney-wise, now this is like some people might get upset here. And if you're upset, you can also comment. Let me know how upset you are. But my favorite Disney movies, Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings. I love Cool Runnings. I know it doesn't fall into like a classic like Disney where you think, right? I love Cool Runnings.
Interesting.
Love it. I love Marvel. So the fact that Disney got Marvel, like game over. But if I had to choose, it's the Avengers, specifically Endgame. Like Infinity War is amazing, but Endgame, if I have to choose them, that's like my favorite. I tear up every time I watch it. Yeah, I do. I swear. And then number 3, it's hard for me to choose, but if I had to choose right in this moment, I would probably go with Toy Story as well.
Classic.
And I think that we can win by saying like Toy Story and like clump them all together.
Yes.
Like not to choose just one
amazing.
because they're all amazing equally, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's so good. So good. So what were some of the biggest wins for you in terms of like getting into your program and starting here and realizing what you can do, realizing what you're confident with? Like tell me a story of a time where you realized how much stronger you actually are.
Man, every day, honestly. It's, every day we we're doing some of the same exercises, but there are some new things peppered in. I know we just started a new program, so there are some newer exercises embedded there. But I'd probably say during our personal best week, which we just had, it was my first time, so it was very cool. I just came back from vacation, so I was really nervous about having that 1 week off and then coming back in and, trying to do personal best. Because that last time I went on vacation, I definitely felt different just taking that 1 week off. So it was when we were pushing sleds, I'd say, was the biggest moment. I was working with Alicia, and she was like, "We're going to push a 200-pound sled today." I was like, "No, we're not." just try it. And I was hanging out with Dan, and we were just having such a fun time that day. And then she put the weight on there, and I couldn't believe that I was able to push that sled, that 200 pounds. Like, that was unbelievable to me. I never thought I'd be able to do that.
And just so everyone who's watching, listening, I'm not going to throw you under the bus with like your actual weight number, but that's a lot more than what you weigh, which is really freaking cool, right? It's so cool. You're able to move more than 200 pounds of weight back and forth on a turf. Like, wow.
It was really crazy. And I love that exercise. I think it's so fun. And also just the other day, actually, I was working with Nick, and he had me level up on my Turkish getup. I couldn't believe it. I've only done it like 3 times, I think. First time, obviously, no weight. And then the second time I tried the 13, and I thought that was, so difficult to pick up after, and like, especially doing more than one of them. And he had me go up to 20. He was spotting me, which was great. But I couldn't believe that I was able to, so quickly transition into higher weights, too. I think that's been huge. It's been nice to have somebody to help guide me in how I can level up, because, if you go to the gym, I kind of said this, I was like, I don't really know what exercise to do, and if I do know which ones to do, it's like, how many reps and how many times do I do it? But here, everyone's so helpful with saying like, all right, so you started here, you can try this, and like, try 5 pounds heavier, and like getting all those little increases has been really awesome, even with kettlebells as well. Like, I've never used those before coming here. Surprise, I guess. But I've already been able to like move down to the bottom shelf and everything in some cases. So that's awesome.
That is awesome, Jen. That is so awesome. So what kind of advice or maybe tips or things would you share, wins for yourself that you would pass on to someone else? Like, what kind of things would you say to someone else who's maybe was in your shoes, your situation, right? Maybe have gone through some challenges with having lower back pain, dealing with that as a young male or female, it doesn't matter. As a young adult going through it, or maybe someone who's in their like their midlife and going through some pain and getting to the point where they do need to seek professional guidance. They need to have someone intervene and help with them because it's getting to a place where it's a little unbearable. What kind of tips would you give to somebody in that situation?
So first thing that came to my head is definitely just take the next step. Like take a step, to me, is the best advice. At least for myself, I was just kind of getting in a routine, waking up, logging onto my computer, working each day, then make dinner, then go to bed, all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of got in that rut, and it wasn't until I actually remember I went out to dinner with my sister, and we were sitting there, and she was just like, you really got to make a change. And she was just very, deadpan straight with me about it. And I don't know why it was that one specific time, but I think her just being, very straight with me kind of, lit the fire underneath to kind of say like, yeah, I do need to change. So whether you're seeing that now in yourself or, someone else is saying it to you, I think just taking that step to start looking for what you might need and finding something that works is the best advice I could give, because once I took that leap and, I typed personal trainer into Google, which anybody can honestly do, I put my inquiry into you. I came out and explored the option, and that's what put me here today and it's put me in this amazing situation that I find myself in. So that's my best advice to anybody is just figure out what you think might work for you. If you need an exercise program, if personal training is not for you, whether that's yoga or some other kind of class, figure out what you think that best fit would be. Try out other things. If the first one doesn't work, try something else. So I know you guys gave a little trial period here, that first month, and I was already sold on day one, but I appreciate you guys checking in and making sure I still enjoyed it. Just trying to find out what works for you. And then once you find that, you be surprised at how you can stick with something. I definitely surprised myself with staying with this. So
that was a great tip. Yeah. Just taking that step. And we should give a shout out to your sister. We should definitely give her a little.
Shout out to my sister.
Yeah. You just gonna say my sister?
Sister Jess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey Jess.
Jess.
Hey, thanks for giving that little kick. Yeah. Get her in here. But your tip is so beautiful because it's so simple that anyone can do it. You're right. Anyone can just go type in personal trainers in Google. But maybe they're not thinking that way. Maybe that person isn't thinking that way. So what kind of steps after Jess said that to you? Yeah. What were the next kind of things that were the dominoes that made you decide to go and type it in?
Yeah, I think just kind of thinking through what I wanted personally in my life, what my goals were for the year. I mean, obviously a lot of us were sitting stagnant.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
You said, think of what my goals are for the year.
Yeah.
The fact that you already framed it in this time frame of I'm thinking more than just the next 30 or 60 or 90 days or 21 days, right? The things that most people fall into. It's cool, I want to make this change in my life. I'm going to give it a month and go for it. Yes, we do a month trial here. That's a nice little time to try things. But you said, give it a year. Just now, I don't even think you meant to do that either, but you did. And you said it because you were already in that, I know I need to give it time in order to learn, to progress, to grow, to improve, to do all the different things and try new things out to see what does work for you.
Right.
Continue.
That's huge. That's true. I'm glad you picked that out because I didn't even think of it as I was saying it, but it's so true because I had spent the past, couple years, I got engaged right before, or actually as the pandemic was happening. So my whole pandemic time being home was just wedding planning, get this stuff done. We need to buy a house. We need to do all these things. So I was so focused on that, and those were my goals. I was that's all I can focus on right now. So after that happened and we had come back from our honeymoon and settled down, that's where I got to that point where I was I'm just getting in this routine of working every day. And it wasn't until she had said that I was yeah, I do need to start setting some new future goals, things I need to work towards, and getting my mental health better and getting physically better were definitely top of the list. Because I was thinking, first of all, you can't be physically well if you're not mentally well.
Whoa. Say that again.
You cannot be physically well unless you are mentally well.
Write that down. That. Write that down, put it on the wall, put it on the mirror in the bathroom. That gold, Jen.
I will have to
Gold.
say, I stole that from my friend at work.
That's fine. You take
Her
all the
name
credit.
is Carrie. She's amazing.
All right,
Give her
Carrie,
a little
good job.
shout out.
Nice job, Carrie. High fives.
We have a mental health project that we're working on right now, and that's how we kind of came to that. We were talking about, what's a, health disparity that we should be focusing on for this project, and, mental health came up, and that's something she said, and I was like, that's 100% true. And I really related that to my own life, saying I can't be, physically well unless I'm mentally well. And this has kind of been the best of both worlds, that I've been able to come here, find people I love, working with, training with, and they put a smile on my face every single day. As I said, it's the highlight of my day to come here. I look forward to it. Over the weekend, I get sad that I don't have, the gym to come to on Sunday. So it's been huge just to be able to, come here and have all that. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. That might have to end up being like the title of this, because it's so great. But it's cool because your story is unique, right? You had the pain point, the physical pain point, and then you've realized that there's also a mental aspect, and then there's also the physical internally, right? With your health, with the celiac,
Yep.
like all these different pieces of your life. When they aligned in the right way, when you were able to read into how they're aligning, you realize that, it's time for me to make a change.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go their entire lives, and like their entire young adult, mid adult, early, whatever part of their lives, seeing the signs, but never aligning them to realize it's time to change.
100%. And I think that's what I realized too, was just that my other previous attempts at exercising was not working. Being honest with myself.
Yeah, so tell me about
huge.
what those attempts were like.
Yeah, so as I said before the pandemic, I was going to the gym once in a while at work, and I'd even work out at home, whatever that meant. But I wouldn't necessarily stick with it. It'd be summer's coming around, as everybody does. All right, let me commit to starting to get some cardio in, go to the park, walk around, do some weights at home, things like that. And I do that for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months at best. And then it's all right, summer's over, time to hibernate, fall and winter are here, and then it's you forget about it. And then you get in that, holiday rut and all that kind of stuff. And, fitness is on the back burner. But now that I realize that if I tried to do that again, it probably wasn't going to work, or I didn't have the motivation to even start to exercise after work, things like that. That's what kind of told me that I needed someone that's going to help me be accountable, that's going to make me want to exercise and want to come and do this every day. Because, trying to get myself to choose watching my next Netflix show versus, going downstairs and in the basement and exercising, it's I'm always going to pick that Netflix show, So being able to find a place that actually held me accountable and made exercising fun was huge. And as you've said, the community here is just awesome. Made friends instantly with so many people here, and just having that bond and getting excited to see each other every week has been amazing.
Yeah. It's so good. Oh, Jenn, it's so good. Well, look, so right now we're in a place where you're still brand new. You still have so much opportunity in front of you, so much growth that is ahead of you, so much greatness that you have yet to tap into, that you have within you. And so what are you looking forward to the most in the coming, let's just say in the coming 9 months, since we're about 3 months or so into your journey, if we just look at the year span, right?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the most in the next 9 months?
So this might be a silly answer to that, but I'm really excited to move up to the trap bar.
That's a great answer. That just, my heart just was like, ooh. I'm like, oh, so great, man.
I know it sounds silly, but I just ever since we had deadlift day, my first one, I remember coming in and being oh, cool, I've always wanted to, do a deadlift. I've never had an opportunity to do it, or I never even thought to do one at the gym. And then I learned when you start out, you have to start out with the lower weight kettlebells. You have to make sure your form is right. And that's definitely been an eye opener for me, because I didn't even know what form really was before I came here. Obviously we're taught how to do some basic weightlifting, but the way that you guys give that personalized attention to making sure your core is strong, your back's strong, your shoulders are back, all that kind of good stuff, really was an eye opener and a learning experience for me. So being able to level up little by little with those kettlebells has been such a motivating time for me. And just in my last session, I got to do the whatever the heaviest one is. I forget what the weight is.
Yeah, the 106?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Alicia said, I was that's my special day. She's like, it's your special day.
Yeah.
The next time I'll get to try the trap bar. So I'm like really excited to do that.
Makes me so happy. Well, it's funny, so the people who are listening, if your members listening, you know exactly what we're referring to for Jen. People who aren't listening, we'll give you the short version of it. So here at Bent on Better, before anyone can progress into things like using trap bars or barbells for deadlifts or things like that, you have to actually earn that rite of passage in the way that we want to make sure you're safe. We want to make sure that you're not only competent and understand the movement, but also confident with it yourself, but also that we know that you can go through it safely. Because that's really the biggest factor is, like, sure, anyone can hop on a trap bar and go ahead and go through a couple of deadlifts. But for the most part, many of the people who are here, you being one of them, have come because you have back pain. You have a place that there have been challenges in the past. Yep. So if we just threw you in there and said, great, do your workout, and like you just go ahead and grab the trap bar because you see everyone else doing it, and then you hurt your back, then you're out for the next 3 months with PT. Like, there's no need for that. So I love that you have taken our advice in the coaching and going step by step, slowly progressing through the kettlebells, going from the top rack to the lower rack, which everyone again listening, top rack is on the lighter side, lower rack's on the heavier side. And then you continue to progress until there's no more rack and you just move into the heaviest ones and then trap bars. And it's so great, Jen. Yay! Those are big things to look forward to. Yeah. What else?
I mean, just in general, like getting stronger and getting more familiar with the exercises, I think is just like a general goal. I even say, I don't know, just being stronger in general has been a huge piece of the whole journey. Like seeing myself level up in all the different weightlifting exercises has been really rewarding. So like bench pressing and things like that, I've been trying to slowly work up in that as well. That's probably another one I want to get really familiar with.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Seriously, this whole conversation, my heart's just like so full because to hear a young woman, women in general, right? To hear someone talk about lifting and lifting heavier weights, like you are the epitome of what women want to do. You're literally the epitome of it. Like we just looked at your file. You've lost body fat. And you've gained lean body mass, which to everyone who's, again, listening, when we say gain lean body mass, that's really just like the toning and tightening. Those are the sexy terms, toning and tightening. But like Jen.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, right. So like whenever people say like get a tone up workout or tightening workout, that's literally just that's the sexy marketing way of saying strengthen or develop more lean body mass, build more muscle. But no one wants to say build more muscle in their marketing campaign because women will see that and think, oh my gosh, like I don't want to build muscle. I don't want to get all big and bulky. You are not big and bulky. You are slim, sexy, everything going on for you. You've got it going on because you are confident and you are doing things that are safe for you to grow in your way for fitness and strength and all the different things. So yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here. And I want you to think about what you would say, or maybe if you're ready to go, you can dive in. But what would you say to someone who's in your position, right? We hit on it a little earlier, but what's your like elevator pitch? We're on floor 1, we're going to floor 20. So we've got the next 30 seconds to get up there. There's a fast elevator.
Okay.
There are no stops along the way. So what would you say to this person who you only have one chance to speak to about they're in a tough spot? They're not sure what they want to do. They've never lifted weights the way we lift weights before in a way that's in a controlled atmosphere. They've maybe had bad experiences in the past. What would you say to that person and speak to them clearly when you're ready?
Come to Bent on Better.
No! And she's not even paid to do that. She actually pays me to say that.
Honestly, I would say that if they were in the perimeter here to be able to come here, that's what I would say. But if not, to get yourself a personal trainer or join a small group training facility. Don't do a big class that's going to overwhelm you or, try to force yourself to go to the gym if that's not right for you. Get personal training. It's changed my life for sure. Getting that personal attention and showing you how to properly and safely, as you touched on, do those exercises is just out of this world. It's sensational and it can really change your life, your fitness outlook, and your journey in life. Just to take that step and have someone coach you through those things so that you can be a stronger person. I'd also say if you don't get a personal trainer, focus on your strength training because, cardio is great, running and things like that, but I think it's just so important, especially as you age, to get stronger above all things. I see people all the time with, flexibility issues with knee problems. I'm sure we've all seen parents get knee replacements, hip replacements, things like that. But you can, prolong your life and prolong your healthier life by being a stronger person and focusing on those things. So that would be my best advice.
Beautiful advice. Yeah. Beautiful advice. So remember how I said I had a list of questions?
Yeah.
Why don't we just do one of them?
Okay.
Really simple, okay? So what would you give if you only had one thing that you could give to somebody that would help them improve their life? What would that one thing be? And it can be anything. This is tangible or intangible. What would that one thing be?
Wow, that's a tough one. Tangible or intangible. Change their life?
Mm-hmm.
Go to Disney World.
Go to Disney World. Oh, all right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'd say just in the line of like the fitness mentality, I'd say like to just go on a personal training journey, honestly.
Okay.
That's like getting the nutrition advice and all that kind of stuff packaged into one at like a one-stop shop has been like really huge for me. And, I've obviously been pitching this to my family as well to come here because I really think it's just benefited me so much. Like, I really feel that I'm in like the best mental and physical shape of my life. And as I said, I played 3 softball teams at one point, so that was pretty intense. Yeah. But I honestly think like I'm eating better because of the things that you've taught me. Learning about what kind of protein powder to eat and put in my smoothies and how to better myself. Like, to me, if I could give anyone anything, it would just would be to come and do something like this, because I really think it can change your life, and it's definitely changed mine.
Oh God, that's so powerful. That wasn't even where I was going with it, but that's awesome. No, that's so awesome. And this is so different. And people who are watching probably like, why does Matt keep asking these random questions? Well, I had a whole plan and I was going to go through it, but I thought it was a little ingenuous if I started rattling off all the questions and probably make you feel uncomfortable. So I didn't go with it, but we'll wrap it up now. So 1 year from now, 1 year from now, where do you see yourself 1 year from now?
Oh, hopefully still coming here.
You better, yeah. Well,
I'll be here.
That's
so still coming here, obviously. Being able to, meet all my fitness goals with no pain would definitely be huge for me. I'm still working on, being more flexible with my hips and, not having as much any pain when I'm squatting and things like that, because I'm still working on, some of the structural pain that I've had from those previous injuries. So just wanting to be, completely pain-free, the strongest I can be, lifting, more and more weight, and, just continuing to have this great mental health and physical health. That's
so good. Jen, that's so good. Look, we're going to wrap it up, and I'm going to say thank you for hanging out with us. If you haven't already done so, make sure you click the subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure you click the subscribe button on any podcast platform wherever you're listening. If you can do it safely while not driving, give it a 5-star rating, because why not? This is a free show, and this is how we continue to change more people's lives while reaching more people. So comment below on YouTube, give it a 5-star rating, give it a review, all the good things, and clap it up for Jenn, because you're awesome. Yay! Thanks. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for being here. We'll see you again next time.